Hi Libra, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a general yearly reading for 2025. And what a transformative year this year is going to be for all of the signs. So in this reading, I'm going to focus on 3 areas of your life that are going to help you take back your own personal power. Another area that's going to help you move towards your more authentic self. And then I'm also going to look at the area of moving towards your creative purpose. And so let's take a look right now at the reading that I'm going to do for you today. At the top left, I'm going to start off. You're going to notice on the top there's 2 cards, and I want to give you some energies for 2025. And so I'm going to pull a goddess card for you and a spirit animal. And then for the main part of the reading, I'm going to use the tarot to focus on the 3 big areas that I talked about: your own personal power, getting back to your truth, and your creative purpose. Now I want you to notice how the reading is divided into 2 sections in the middle. And so you have your inner world on the left-hand side, and then your outer world on the right. And you'll notice the cards are numbers. So 2, 4, 6 is the inner world, and the outer are the 1, 3, and 5 cards. Now take a look at the outer world. It's white. It's actually sitting on a large mirror, because your outer world is your conscious world. It's the one that you're aware of. You know, you look out the window and this is what I see, and this is consciously what you're aware of. And there's always something in the universe that's reflecting. So your outer world is a mirror for you. It's reflecting something that needs healing in your shadow. It's coming up for healing from your unconscious. And so what's happening on the inside is always your inner world, and it's your unconscious. It's your shadow. So that's the part of you that you can't see. It's the part of you that you have put away or you've repressed when you were younger, because there were parts of you that were shunned or shamed and unacceptable to people to be around. But your inner world, your shadow, is the part that has the biggest impact on everything that's going on in your outer world. It will drive and influence all your patterns, your belief systems about yourself, and it's going to block you from taking that next step that you need in your life. So you will definitely notice it the most in all your relationships around you. So once you start watching around you, once you start building awareness around this mirror concept in your life, that's when you're going to begin to find and excavate what lives in your unconscious, your shadow self. And if you continue to ignore it, it's going to keep coming back again and again until you resolve it. And then finally, in number 7, I'm going to ask for advice from the tarot as to how you can begin to heal this, because remember, this is a process. This is a healing journey for you to heal things that are coming up from your unconscious, from your shadow. And then I'm going to leave you with the Shaman's Dream Oracle, and I'll suggest as well some videos for you from my other channel called Carol Cares. All right, so I'm going to take a few minutes now to set up your reading, because it has a lot of cards on the table that I have to, set up for you, and then I will put it on speed shuffle so that you don't get bored. I will say that I'm going to be using the Tarot Grand Luxe for the main cards, and I'm going to clarify it with the Radiant Rider-Waite deck. I'm going to be using the Tarot Vintage as well to clarify. I'm going to be pulling out your Goddess Tarot from this book, and I'm going to be pulling you a spirit animal from the Spirit Animal deck right here. All of them are listed in my description box below. And then I'm going to pull a Shaman's Dream Oracle card for you at the end. And I think that's good. All right, so I'll see you in a bit. All right, I'm back. That took forever. I think my readings would be so long if I didn't do that. So let's start off with the goddess energy that I pulled for you for 2025. And you got... Now, it is the world card, but it doesn't have anything to do with the actual goddess. So you got Coatlicue. So I'll have a picture of Coatlicue, who is the Aztec mother of creation. And the saying that's underneath this picture in my book, it's not here, but you have, a single manifestation holds a multitude of being. So Coatlicue, whose name means she of the serpent skirt, is the Aztec earth goddess and the mother of creation. She is the mother of the gods, the sun, the moon, and the stars. She creates life and she receives the dead. She is the full circle of initiation and completion. She is one and many, for Coatlicue has 4 sisters. She is a 5-fold goddess. She is the 5-fold earth with her 4 directions plus the center axis to make the whole. The earth is sunlit and moonlit. The earth is mother and murderer. The serpent, like the earth, has a dark side and a light side, a creature of the underworld and a bringer of wisdom. So, you have done what you need to do and you have been what you need to be. Your life has become together in this moment to say that service has been enough. It is time to live according to your own rules. Take leadership of your life. Wow, I love that. Wow, that's powerful. Powerful goddess for you to take leadership of your life this year. And then spirit animal. Spirit animal, you have the nightingale spirit. Love is all around. In the darkness of night, nightingale spirit sings her song of love and hope. And it's here to remind you that the sun will rise again soon. You are so loved, and the illumination song of the nightingale spirit calls you to a new level of self-awareness and connection with the light. Yes, there is a shadow and darkness, but love and prosperity exist everywhere, even in the seeming emptiness of space. Darkness and starless night, and a starless night. Hearken to the message, letting the music of the nightingale's song remind you that love is all around. Feel it and trust in tomorrow's light, renewing your ability to recognize that the spaces that appear empty are filled with love and abundance. Illumination will happen soon. So those are your 2. Actually, I think that was a spirit animal of Cancer as well. So nightingale's popular this year. We're going to begin with, so on my left, it's your right. This is going to be the inner world. And this is your outer world. So this is everything you're aware of. This is your shadow. This is your unconscious. I have my 3 areas right here. So we have power, truth, and purpose. We're going to start off with power. So I want to know how in 2025 you can own your own personal power. And this is this is what your goddess was, right? To take on your own power to create your own world. And Coatlicue, beautiful goddess that you have for that. And yeah, so let's start off with your outer world. And I want to look at what pattern or old habit that is no longer serving you, and you need to release it in order to take back your own power. So let's look at what's going on with you. And I'm sure you're aware of this pattern. I mean, it's a pattern, so it's been showing up for you, or maybe it's an old habit that you need to release. So what is it you need to release? What's the pattern here? You're starting off with the 2 of Pentacles, the 2 of Coins, and this is an individual in an upright position that is doing a balancing act here with his pentacles, right? I think he's trying to look at himself in this pentacle like it's a mirror, and he's up on this high wire, and, you know, very much risky, right? So, and then, but it's in reverse here, and so I'm wondering if, like, you're just not even aware of how much you live your life kind of in an unbalanced situation is very interesting, because I'm reading this for Libra, and we're talking, the first card that comes out is about balance. So, I mean, your motto is kind of like I balance, but when that is your motto and you are a Libra, I think sometimes you have a tendency to be indecisive because you're trying to balance things, and you're trying to figure out things. And so I'm seeing here that you're maybe because you can't make up your mind, you become kind of one of those individuals that's very multitasking and very distracted. I'm going to use the word because this is a healing channel, and because this card has come out, I often use the word dissociated, where you're kind of walking around with your head up in the clouds, not kind of knowing what's going on because you're just so busy. You're trying to balance everything, right? That's very much Libra, just very indecisive, trying to balance things out. And right in the middle here is this moon card. And the moon card, it's not in reverse. The next card is. The moon card talks about there's these things that are hidden, and there are things that are hidden from you. There's something that's hidden that I think is causing you to kind of remain in this dissociated state, because when we have, and I don't know what it is yet, but when we have things coming up from our shadow, from our unconscious that we need to heal, we will keep ourselves distracted. We will keep ourselves up in our head. We will keep ourselves, unbalanced, because it's almost like it's kind of like a drug for us, really, because you don't want to feel. But there's things here that are things here that are hidden that you need to know about, and that are causing you a lot of pain. But it's in reverse here because you're not wanting to look at it. Look at this pain here. These 3 swords, this mental swords are about our mental energy, this pain that we're feeling in our head, that are putting this sword through 3 swords through our heart. And so there's definitely some pain that wants to come up, that it's hidden, it's from our shadow, and you're not aware what it is, but you're keeping yourself very distracted and unbalanced because you're not willing to look at this pain. And I think that is the pattern that comes up for you. It could be a habit that where, when things are you'll notice that is, I do that with my own eating, because eating is my main drug, if you want, and it'll be my go-to, where I notice if my eating revs up, if I end up going to the grocery store and buying a bunch of junk food, that'll be a sign for me. It's like, oh, there's something coming up. And so when you get overly distracted, and when you're busy, very, very unbalanced in your life, dissociated, that's the pattern, because you've got old pain that's hidden in your shadow that wants to come up. And so let's go look at, maybe we can find out, what is this, what shadow aspect, what's driving this pain, or even for you to kind of get really busy and push this all down, and what's going on. Let's look for a little bit of an explanation here, like what's coming up from your shadow. Well, you have the 5 of Wands here, and the 5 of Wands is in reverse, and in an upright position. The 5 of Wands is, I call this card, and lately I've been really studying this card, and it's kind of taken on not a new meaning for me, but kind of, I call it my inner critic card now. And it's this kind of the story of these people that are battling with their wands, and it's not so much they're hitting each other with it, they're kind of comparing, they're judging, my wand is longer than yours, and in a battle I would win, and you're a loser because you just got a small wand. And it's just like this inner critic, and it's in reverse here because there's a real block here, or a fear to looking at you know, some of these, what are these things here that you are telling yourself? So I'm wondering if there's some real, and that card will carry with it a lot of unworthiness that is sitting in your shadow here. So there's something coming up that really makes you feel unworthy. You know, and maybe you hear it all the time in your head where you tell all these things to yourself and you're trying to bury, maybe you're trying to bury, the word bury came out. You're just trying to silence things that were said to you, or, yeah, that's what this, you're just hearing it where, you know, this whole thing about you're not good enough, or, yeah, that's what's coming out here. That's the pain that you're feeling, that you're trying to block out. But there's this, in the middle of your shadow, there's this call here. This judgment card's coming out. The judgment for me is this call. It's this calling to these people to wake up. Like, wake up. What are you being asked to wake up here? What did you put away? And this is your shadow is these things that you put away when you were younger, when you're an adolescent or small child, things that people told you about yourself. And there's this calling here for you. There was some kind of a calling. But because people told you things about yourself, and maybe you weren't good enough for something, you couldn't hear the calling. You didn't hear the calling, and you put it away. And we will find in our shadow, underneath all of our trauma and our memories, there's gifts in our shadow. Every single one of us came to this planet with gifts, something to do, something to bring to humanity. And I think there was something here, but because, you know, you were told and by people, that's that inner critic. Yeah, you would have told yourself, you wouldn't have heard it, you would have blocked it. Like, you don't even know. It's probably something that you don't even know because it's in your shadow. And then the Hanged Man comes in a reversed. I always have to look at what position he is. Like, normally you have in an upright position, this Hanged Man talks about a card that an individual that's very feels very good in their skin. They're very comfortable at, look at they're not even showing any pain whatsoever. They're very comfortable being upside down like this, right? And very comfortable, a real strong sense of who you are. But this is in reverse in your shadow. So this really, what I'm seeing here is, when you were younger, you were told these things about you that were not true, you know, and that would have brought on your inner critic. Because when we are an inner critic to ourselves, we often repeat the same things that people told us when we were younger. And there was a call for you to do something. You didn't feel comfortable in your own skin to go in that direction because, you know, the unworthiness would have kicked in, whatever it was that you started to tell yourself here, right? And I think that's where that indecisiveness comes in, you know, where you're kind of not really sure now, because there's a part of you, I'm thinking that, you know, on one hand you're going, yeah, I want to do this. And then right away that inner critic will kick in and go, no, you can't because blah, 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 blah. You see where that kind of kicks in like that? And those are painful things. And I think this is happening with you, where you get really distracted all the time, trying to shove down those painful things that you're hearing. And so that is definitely something that you need to look at, that needs healing. You know, these things that you tell yourself and they're not true. So that's your power. Taking back your power is healing that part of you, that becoming aware, especially when you will dissociate, or when you feel the most distracted. It's like, oh, that's the big part of this journey, is to go, oh, I'm really distracted right now. Like, holy shit. Like, and that means there's something coming up, and I need to ground. I need to get into my body to start to figure out, what is this? What am I feeling here? And that's a sign, and that's how you start to connect to what's happening on your outside world, and like, oh, that's happening. There's something going on inside of me. And so in the middle, you have your truth, right? So let's look at your outside world. So here is, what false idea or belief about yourself do you need to become aware of? What do you believe about yourself? And I'm wondering if it has to do with this inner critic that you have inside of you that's coming out. Well, you have the Eight of Cups. Here's your outside world. And I think you're quite aware. The Eight of Cups is this picture of someone that's walking away. And it's not, they're walking away from cups, but they're not walking away to, ignore their emotions. They're walking away to have some time to themselves, to take that journey. This is really what I call is like the shadow work card. It's like this individual is saying, I know I got to do this. I know I have to figure out why I'm so distracted. And I want to get back to my truth. I think there's a big part of you here that wants to move towards your authenticity. I think you're ready to do it. You're like, I want to. Very interesting, because I think also this individual here is, the Seven of Swords is called the Thief card. And in an upright position, you have this picture of this individual who's running away with, almost like they've stolen them from a camp, of these 5 swords right here. Interesting, they've left 2 of them behind, but the 5 that they have, they're running away with are these swords that he's holding by their point, which is very dangerous. And he's holding these 2 really like ones that are almost like planted in the ground right here. Interesting, because swords are our mental energy, our mental thoughts, our mental patterns, the things we tell ourselves. And so that inner critic, it'd be those things that you learned when you were a child, like, you're no good. Why are you doing that? What are you doing that for? Or you're not smart enough. You're not good enough. All the things that you were told about, you almost like you ran away with them. Here they are running away. They're very dangerous, because you continue to believe them, but you left behind your truth right here, these 2. But instead you took these 5 and you ran away with them, right? And so I think you're very, and it's in reverse here, because I think there's if a card is in reverse for me, there's this resistance to looking at it, or a fear to go inwards. I think there's a fear of yours to do this shadow work card and to look at, where are these thoughts, where are these coming from? Are they true? Are they really me? Do I really believe that? But the next card is the Strength card, and that explains, I think, why this card is in reverse here. The Strength card is in reverse, which obviously means there's a real big fear on your part, and you don't believe that you can do this work. There's a big fear. This individual in upright position is, she's taking that mouth of the lion. And I mean, she has that infinity symbol, like this incredible power, like an infinite power to take that lion's head, right? I always call it a Pandora's box. And that's what it feels like when you're starting to dig into your stuff from childhood that you need to heal. It really feels like this Pandora's box that you're going to open, and it's going to go everywhere. I can't tell you how many people say, I opened up that box and I closed it right up because it was just too painful for me, that little crack, and you open it up again. And so I think here that, I mean, that, that you need to take some time. I think you're realizing you need to get back to the truth of who you are. Like, is it really these 5 swords here that it's a 7-sword card, but these swords that you've run away with, is that your truth? Is that really who you are, what you believe about yourself, and what you're hearing, this inner critic inside of you? Is that really yourself? But there's this great fear of yours. And so that's what needs this is what's happening in your outside world. And so what is it in your inside world, in your shadow right now, that's having the biggest impact on this? That is actually, this is what you see, and it's sitting here. It's you're seeing this, what I just explained, but what is it that you need to heal? This is what you need to heal right now, your inner world. We start off with the Five of Cups, and then the Ace of Pentacles is right behind it. The Five of Cups is it's reversed, but the Five of Cups is it's a real card. Fives are about conflict, and there's this individual here that's taken these Three of Cups right here, and they've really focused on those 3 spilled cups instead of realizing there's 2 more here. It's okay, but instead they're just like, no, I've just I don't even see those 2 cups. And then the card is in reverse because there's a real, and this is in your shadow. I think when you were younger, I think you tried at one point to show, your emotions. And I think you were told to put them away. And I think, and some things happened here where you just really gave up. And like it was like you buried them, and you were taught at a very young age to put your emotions away. And here's that fear. This fear that's coming up for you, you to open up that Pandora's box of your emotions and these things that people told you about yourself. You're petrified to open it up because you were taught when you were younger to put that away. And a lot of times when you were taught that when you were younger, there's always a threat that comes with it. And as an adult, you have that threat, but you might even not know what the threat was. Like, if you get angry again, this will happen to you. And you don't know because it's in your shadow. But you just know that there's this big fear of yours to do this shadow work and to start to feel some of these emotions. And you're thinking, I can't do this because you were told not to. And it's when you start to explore this and heal this, you'll find out what exactly I was told and why I couldn't take out my emotions. And right beside it is this Ace of Coins, this Ace of Pentacles, and it's buried in your shadow right here. As a child, when you are 4, 5, 6 years old, you are very much in your body. The Ace of Pentacles talks about this offer to you, this gift to be in your body. Like this is like this offer to you. And as a child, we all were in our body when we came here. And you are, when you're around 4, 5, 6 years old, you're still very much in your body. You're grounded. That's what the pentacle is all about. The pentacle is about being grounded, and the pentacle itself is the body. And so you're very grounded, and you felt your emotions, and you were in your body, but it's sitting here in your shadow. You buried that. I think you came out of your body. And because when you decided, well, I can't feel those emotions, your emotions live in your body. And if you are told all these things when you're younger, these things that, these swords that you ran away from right here, if you were told all those things by people and they were very, very hurtful, here's this 3 of Swords right here, this pain. Well, it's too much for you to stay in your body as a child because that's where your emotions are. And so what happens is we'll go up in our head. There's where it's coming. You go up in your head. You learned as a child when you were younger to not stay in your body right here because these emotions are too painful for you. And so you went up in your head. And that's very interesting because we started off this reading with you being very, very distracted and up in your head. Even though it's not talking about our truth anymore, but it's your power up here. You know, you gave up that power being, you know, by going right back up in your head. Our ego does that for us as a safety kind of precaution because you can't handle these big emotions when you're younger. Very painful. And right behind that is, here's that little inner child with the sword in her hand. And this whole row that I'm on is talking about your truth, your authenticity, and who you really are. And here's the younger part of you. My pages in my deck are our inner children. And we have more than one. I know mainstream psychology says we just have one, but I've been on my own intensive shadow work healing journey for my own trauma, 7.5 years, and I know I have more than one inner child. And this one is the younger part of you at 4, 5, 6 years old that knew who they were. They're holding the sword of your authenticity. They knew exactly who you were. You knew who you were, but you buried that. And when a page shows up, it's an inner child, so it needs healing. It needs us to listen to them. It needs us. They need to be understood. And here's your authenticity right here. You buried it along with, you know, being able to feel all of your emotions. And when that happens, we just put these masks on and we bury our authenticity. And so I think that's why it's so difficult for you to get to your emotions and who you really are. And that's why there's this call for you to really start to look at who you really are, because it's buried right here. And then right at the end of your shadow, you have this Queen of Pentacles. Here's the Pentacles again. And the Queen in my deck is the feminine aspect of us. We all have a masculine side, which is our ego self. And then we also have the Queen, the feminine side of us. And this particular Queen is the Queen of the body. She loves to be in her body. She loves her emotions. She feels all her emotions. She guides her whole life by getting still and feeling her emotions, going inside her body. And that part of you is buried right here. So you not only buried like your ability to stay in your body, you buried your authentic self. It's all buried behind here because you weren't allowed. Something painful happened to you that maybe you weren't supported when you were younger. Maybe you weren't allowed to feel your emotions. You weren't they weren't validated for some reason. I don't know, because it's hidden here. The moon card says there's things that are hidden. These painful things of yours that are hidden. But all I know is that behind these emotions that you need to feel are a hell of a lot of your authentic self that's buried in your shadow. And that's what happens when we're not allowed to feel when we're younger. We bury everything about ourselves. And that's why it's so petrifying for you to, you know, crank that lion's mouth open and look at this stuff, because you've got some painful stuff here that needs healing. And so what about your purpose? Like, what is the main obstacle that's going to prevent you this year from moving closer to your creative purpose? And when I say your creative purpose, I'm talking about your creative, authentic, what you want to do for you, what is real to you, what is something that's very different from, maybe something you've always done. People might, look at you and go, what is that person doing, What are you going to do for you? But what, maybe you're feeling this nudge to do something else, something that I want to do. Makes you feel like you have purpose in your life. And what's main obstacle here that's going to stop you from taking that next step for yourself? Well, let's look at it. You start off with the Queen of Coins, and here's the Queen of Pentacles again. And that's the main obstacle. And so the Queen of Coins, like I said, is the feminine side of us. She's the one that feels her emotions. She's the one that's in her body. She's the one that grounds. And so we started off this reading again, like I said, where you were very much ungrounded and dissociated. And the thing that's going to stop you, from moving towards your true purpose is the fact that, you're not grounded. And the Queen is very grounded. Queen of Pentacles is the earth element. And you need to be grounded in your body in order to get in touch with your intuition, which is your inner guidance. And it, it shows you where to go next and how to do it. And so the fact that you're not grounded is going to really be the obstacle for you in 2025. The Hangman comes out next, this archetypal force here, major arcana, and this is an individual that's very much comfortable, feels comfortable in their own skin, comfortable to be in their own skin, in their own body, and to feel their emotions. And that's definitely where the universe wants to take you, but there's a real block on your part to feel that comfort, to stay in your body. Because if we decide, okay, I'm going to try to get grounded, I'm going to try to stay in my body, it's so hard to stay in your body. If you're used to feeling these emotions, and then this fear is going to come up. Oh my God, I'm not allowed to feel these. There's too much pain there. And then we go back in our heads. Believe me, I know what it means to be dissociated. I lived my entire life dissociated and up in my head. But yeah, and then this Knight of Cups here comes in, and the Knight of Cups is freedom. This Knights in my deck, all what I call my freedom fighters. And they're the ones that are, it's this teenage part of us, we all have it, that just wants to be free to experience, what it means to have authentic relationships. And I think there's this part of you that's wanting to feel comfortable in your own skin, wanting to experience authentic relationships in your life and not feel like, you're being controlled by anything. And I'm seeing here's the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands talks about an upright position. It talks about somebody that's, broken through these walls here of the city at the back, right? And has finally gotten free, and they're finally tasting their freedom here. And that's what I see the Four of Wands as a real card of freedom and finally going and doing it. It's in reverse, which means there's a real fear on your part to do that. I mean, I hear it. This whole card is saying, behind this card that says that's your obstacle is not being in your body. And there's this whole part of you that is dying to go towards your authentic self, dying to be free. The Wands is your purpose, your creative purpose, going in that direction, but there's this real fear to do it. And fear is our ego self that is keeping you in your head. It's blocking you from going in your body and feeling these emotions, and that is what's going to get you to take that next step. So what's going on in your shadow here? Why are you what aspect of your shadow is impacting or preventing you, is blocking you from maybe getting into your body? What is it here? And taking that, those steps for you. Very fascinating that you start off with the Empress card, which is the third card in the major arcana. It is the second card of the feminine archetype in the major arcana, and the first one is High Priestess and the second one is Empress. And she, the Empress, talks about creativity and beautiful stillness to get into your body and to ground into your body and feel your emotions. She's everything about emotions here. And I'm not sure if she was in reverse or not. I forget. I hate when I do that. But this is in your shadow. That ability to be in your body and to feel. We talked about the comfort in your own skin. To feel that right here. A lot of feminine energy right here, as far as purpose. Big screaming grounding here. And then you have, this is incredible. This is in your shadow. you have in the middle of your shadow, you got, first of all, let's talk about the Seven of Wands right here, because it came out with this card. So it's clarifying this Empress. So yeah, there was a when in your shadow, when you were younger, what you repressed, what you put away, you got out of your body. You couldn't feel your emotions because look at this individual right here. In an upright position, this individual is standing here fighting off these individuals, standing here by themselves. And it really is a card of this person being like a non-conformist, right? Like kind of being maybe the black sheep of the family, or the one that's just knows that, you know, you're not supported by people in your family, you're not validated, and not feeling safe enough to take out these emotions when you were younger. Very much your emotions were not validated, and you weren't validated. And then when I pulled out some clarifiers, you ended up getting the Seven of Wands for the Seven of Wands here. And so this really, really tells me here, like this was in reverse, which says you probably gave up at one point, right? And then this came sideways, the Seven of Wands. So it's like, I think you struggled though. Like I really think you struggled when you were younger to, I mean, this is all about purpose and moving towards your, you know, your creative purpose. So I think you really struggled with that. You weren't somebody that gave up easily, even though you were not supported here. And then you get the Eight of Wands right after it. The Eight talks about, look at all these beautiful wands. These wands talk about our creative direction, and they're focused, really focused. When you were younger, you knew exactly where you wanted to go. You don't remember now, but you knew who you were. But there was no support for you. And everything, you know, when your emotions are shut down and when you're not allowed to be you and feel your own emotions, you lose your authenticity and your sense of where you're going and your sense of direction. Wow, this is amazing reading for you. All right, so I'm going to look at now the advice from the tarot here, because this is a lot. Like I know I took 3 big areas, but it's like, okay, what small thing? This is a process. This is a journey we're on, right? So what small thing here is important for you? And sometimes, especially Libra, I talked about how, you know, well, how do I decide? How do I decide? I'm trying to figure this out, and I don't know what to do, what to pick out of all of this. Well, this is where the tarot kind of comes in, and it says, okay, here's the advice for you. And it says to me, the Magician card comes in, and it's a Major Arcana card. It's the first one in the deck. It's a beautiful card. It's in reverse. I'm not going to turn it upside down because I'll forget that it was upside down. I'm not going to turn it upright. Magician card speaks about, you know, it's a card of, he's called the Master Manifester. It means he can manifest anything in our life. And I don't use that word at all. I don't really use that word because it's overused, and people don't realize that it can be a little bit damaging here. Because I can sit here and I can tell you, you know what, Libra, you can manifest anything in your life that you want. Okay, you could. But here's the thing. If you're ungrounded, like this magician right here, he's not grounded. He's grounded here, but he's not grounded right here. You will manifest things in an ungrounded way that are not meant for you. They're things that are going to keep on repeating patterns, and, you know. And so this is really a card that says, in order for you to manifest anything in your life right now, in order for you for any of this to happen, this is really a card that says you need to become grounded. You need to become grounded here. I can't tell you how much feminine energy you had around that whole thing about you need to learn what it means to get back in your body. And I mean, your first card was the Two of Pentacles, you know, that distraction. And yeah, there's just so much going on here, but I think you need to focus on, all right, how am I going to bring presence to my life here? How do I learn how to ground it? How do I learn to get back in this body? I know it's painful, but I've got to learn if you can do it for like 5 seconds. and you practice, a few times a day, because we automatically will go back up our heads all the time, all the time. We get triggered, back up in our head. Anytime these emotions get triggered in us, go back up in our heads, and it doesn't take much for us to get triggered. And then right after that Magician, I see that there's a knight here. Knights are freedom fighters. They're like an adolescent part of us. We all have this part. They're that part that wants freedom from people controlling us. And this particular knight has a sword. It wants to move back to, I want my authenticity. I'm fighting for my authentic self. I want to find out who I am. I want to have, authentic relationships here. And I think I know there's this part of you that wants to figure out like who the hell I am. Because if you've spent a lot of your life kind of up in your head, you really aren't present to what's going on here. And then there's the World card that comes out next. And the World card talks about closure here. I think there's some real I want to look at this card as almost like a balancing card, because closure is bringing things to kind of like an end, but it also means a new cycle here. But I think to me it says, if you make this year, Libra, if there's one thing you do this year, it's like, I'm going to get into my body. I'm going to learn how to ground. I'm going to get into my body, because that's what's going to bring you the closure that you're needing here. And the World card is like the end of a cycle as well, because I think when you deal with that, that's going to open up so many things for you. I remember that Four of Wands, this right here where it's in reverse. It's going to give you the freedom. It's like you actually become more aware, and you go, wow, this is the world I've been living in. Because if you're dissociated and being so distracted, you don't realize that there's something else. Once you start getting in your body and becoming more aware of your surroundings, it's like, whoa. So yeah, real call here for you to get grounded. I'm going to read the last card for you. Before I read this, I want to tell you that I'm going to leave you with a playlist. My two most important tools that I use on my own healing journey are grounding and journaling. So I'll leave you with playlists on those two. And you got, as your Shaman's Dream card, you have Empty Well. Time to replenish. Wow. Nothing here. Time to replenish. Diminishing yourself for another. The empty well reveals that there is nothing for you. There is nothing for you here. The well is dry, and the desert is encroaching on your once fertile garden. It is time to face this harsh reality and move on. Give gratitude and thanks for the abundance you've experienced, and let Spirit guide you to your next destination. This might mean saying goodbye to someone or something, or insisting on changing the rules of the game. Stop diminishing yourself for the sake of another. Making yourself small will not produce the results you want. There is a lack of reciprocity, of give and take. The empty well tells you that it's time to reclaim what is yours and return what does not belong to you. The shadows cast in your direction are not of your making. You do not need to react or respond to them, as they are not real. Simply shine your light upon them and see how it dispels them. These shadows are projections that you are confusing for reality. You may have been offered a shovel to help you dig yourself out of an uncomfortable situation, a bucket to drink from the well, but you cannot dig yourself out of this hole. And remember that there is no water to be found in that well. Receive the empty well as a gift. Do not exert your energy and waste your resources by repairing the walls or mending the rope. Follow the watercourse way, the aquifers that run deep in the earth. So aquifers, I don't know that word. I should, but I know. Aquifers that run deep in the earth, and you will be led to a new spring oasis. You can find these underground streams, these rich natural resources, in the subterranean depths of your own heart. That's a powerful card for you. I want you to have compassion for yourself, Libra, for what you're working through this year. And remember that this journey is the most difficult journey of your life, but it is the most important one. So I will talk soon. Take care, Libra. Bye.